What is up, everybody? This is Compelled by Schlock, and tonight we are talking about Jaws 3 or Jaws 3D if you're nasty. I am Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. With me, as always, is Chris Anonymous, and we have our very special guest, Lance the Obscure Movie Guy, who comes and joins us every Shark Month. See, what do we do in the show? We talk about all the good, the bad, and the schlock of these weird, obscure movies. Maybe not so obscure, as big at one time, but we talk about what we like, what we didn't like, and the things that stood out to us, the big ideas, memorable moments. And so we're going to talk about that. And we're probably going to talk about why British people are the peanut butter for sharks. Anyway, what is up, guys? It has been a minute since we've had the show. It's been a full year since we've had Lance on.
Yeah,
Lance, how have you been, man? Tell us what you've been up to.
I've been up to all kinds of stuff, man. We did the Hive. We filmed that in the beginning of the year, and that's in post-production. Me and Sean Thompson and John Patrick Wilson, and putting that together with our editor Peter, doing an amazing job behind the scenes trying to bring that to life. So hopefully we've got that up and running by the end of the year. Working with Sean again on The Hunt for Justice. He's been writing the script. I think we're on our third revision for that. I've been working with some people in Tampa Bay area doing the Kill Match series, which is pretty interesting and pretty intense. So lots of gunplay in that one, lots of fight scenes. So lots of stuff to choreograph behind the scenes and make it come to life. And just working on doing movie reviews on my channel and trying to get caught up with that. And just dropped a new video today on an actual book review. So that was my first book review I've ever done. So
what was it?
It's called A Howling in Brooklyn. A Howling in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Really good book. It reads like an action movie. The pacing in the book is incredible. It was done by a guy named Luciano Di Giornato, who actually lives in Brooklyn, and a really interesting guy. I was on a podcast with him about a year ago talking about it, and he just had an image in his head and needed to get it on paper and wrote a book, man. And it's available Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can order it directly from him. Really good stuff.
When there's no movie attached to it, can you still say that the book is better than the movie?
I mean, it reads like one.
Awesome.
He wants to bring it to life as a movie. I think he's currently working on an animated version to see how that goes, and maybe get some feelers out. But I think honestly, it would really make a really good film. It really would.
Cool. Yeah,
but I do think at the end of the day, the books are always a little bit better than most films. So
I got to ask, how much lead time did you have with this book? Are you a fast reader?
I am not. I struggle with dyslexia. I'm pretty open about that in some of my videos. So I struggle with international films if I have to read like the
subtitles.
The subtitles. So I ordered the book very shortly after being on the podcast with Lucci because I was really enamored by him and as a person, and the story sounded amazing. So I've been at it for a little while.
Nice.
Trying to read it and put it together.
Well, that's cool, man. If we did book reviews on the podcast, just at my speed, we'd do one podcast a year. So
like I said, it was my first book review. It might be my last. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, speaking of books, I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but getting back to Jaws, this is the first film, Jaws 3, that I've ever seen in the credits suggested by the novel.
Yeah, that was an interesting credit. Yeah, suggested by the novel Jaws. I'm like, part 3 is suggested by the material for part 1. Okay. All right.
So was there like a caveat in the book that we don't know about that suggested that the kids go to Florida?
I'm guessing it was one of those credits in between, like, you know how you get credits for creating characters, like the person who wrote Terminator. Like if someone were to make Terminator 3 and they didn't write it, they'd still get some writing credit because it's based on characters created by, right?
Right. Okay. But normally they would put that into the credit.
Yeah.
Correct. I wonder how, again, time frame, this is 83. How many times had that based on characters by so-and-so before? Could be a ton time. I could just be totally wrong, but I'm thinking it's one of those like in between credits of like the two kids are the Brody children grown up, so maybe we need to give him some kind of credit.
Maybe it was literally suggested by the original author. He's like, hey, this is an idea.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe.
I don't know.
And what's interesting about that is, and I know we'll probably dive into this a little bit more later, but like that's never really explained very well in the movie to begin with, that like they're Brody's kids.
No, it's very you blink and you miss it, but but I didn't miss it, and I thoroughly enjoyed that they were Brody's kids.
It makes sense.
It makes sense.
Well, let me get our audience keyed in on what we're going to be talking about here. Read our little spiel. Jaws 3, directed by Joe Alves and released in 1983, moves the action from the open water of Amity Island to SeaWorld Orlando, where a massive great white finds its way into a heavily populated marine park. The story follows Mike Brody and Dr. Catherine Morgan as they race to stop the shark before it tears through the park's underwater attractions. Originally conceived as a parody titled Jaws 3 People Zero, the film was made for about $20 million. Jaws 3 significantly underperformed compared to its predecessors by bringing in just under $88 million worldwide. However, and this is interesting, the movie would go on to become the highest grossing 3D film until Spy Kids 3D in 2003. So that's a pretty good trophy to hang your hat on, right?
How many 3D films?
I was going to say, I don't know if that's impressive or not.
There were a bunch at the time. And
okay,
yeah. Of them.
Right around 3D,
that time. Space Hunter, the Forbidden Zone, or whatever it was called. Amityville 3D.
Wasn't there a Friday the 13th 3D at some point?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And which is interesting. There's Friday the 13th 3D and this movie both have two very similar, if not exactly the same 3D shots where they shoot a harpoon gun at the camera. It's like there must not be a lot of things to do in the world of 3D.
What if we shoot a harpoon gun at the camera?
Oh, and we got Maniac Clown in the chat with us.
Nice.
Thanks for joining, Maniac. Man, you must have been a very young child. I don't think I was born yet.
The whole gang's here.
Glad to see you. Let's see. I already gave you the run of the show, what we do here. Chris, I didn't give you a chance to talk about what we're doing because we have something special to plug, which everybody needs to do.
Oh, yeah. Subscribe to the newsletter. There's a link.
Hey,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's every month, usually around the last Friday of the month, we'll be putting out a newsletter. It'll have links for the episode of that month. It'll have updates on our short film. It'll have sometimes the movie reviews of things we've seen. Just kind of a quick little page of what's going on, what we're going to do in the next month. So it's in the link. Subscribe and look for it in your inbox.
Very cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Subscribe now. And I haven't talked to Chris about this yet, but there may potentially in the future be an upcoming giveaway for those who sign up for the newsletter. So sign up to find out more. Anyways, let's get on with the show. Before we do the good, the bad, and the schlock, we like to talk about the people that are in the movie and who made the movie, where they came from, and where they went.
Yeah.
In a little segment called Web of Schlock.
Web of Schlock. Let's start in front of the camera tonight. Mike Brody, played by Dennis Quaid, very famous actor. Inner Space, Frequency, Dreamscape, Wyatt Earp, Dragonheart. So many things, but it was thoroughly enjoyable seeing in this. I didn't realize he was in it because I'd never seen this before. Then Calvin Bouchard, played by Louis Gossett Jr. Oh man, love him. Great actor. Enemy Mine, The Deep, Officer and a Gentleman, Digstown, Iron Eagle 2, Iron Eagle 3. And then my personal favorite, it's a little known Western comedy that was on HBO in the 90s called El Diablo, which if you can find it, you should watch it. It is so good. And then we have Leah Thompson, who played Kelly. She was in Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, Red Dawn, Howard the Duck. I mean, just another person who you see in all sorts of films. And then if we move behind the camera, we have the director, Joe Alves.
Alves.
Yeah.
Alves.
This was his only feature film that he directed. He was a production designer on Escape from New York, Jaws 2, Free Jack. So we've seen his work. He was an assistant director or second unit director on Jaws 2, on John Carpenter's Starman. So lots of moving in between kind of all those cool movies and directors in the 80s. But this was his first and only film that he directed. And then we have 2 writers, Carl Gottlieb. He wrote Jaws 2, The Jerk, Dr. Detroit, obviously this film. And then we have the other writer, Richard Miller. And I'm ending on him because that's one of the most intriguing things about this film. He was a famous short story writer, famous novelist, and screenwriter. He wrote 16 episodes of The Twilight Zone. He wrote for screenplays The Raven, Tell a Terror, Pit and the Pendulum, House of Usher, lots of Corman. And then as a novelist, he wrote I Am Legend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He wrote Hell House, Stir of Echoes, What Dreams May Come. Really? He is one of the most influential sci-fi horror writers of the last 100 years.
Wow.
And it's so crazy that he is involved in this project.
Yeah, that's I would say Jaws 3 is a far cry from all of that other stuff.
Well, yeah, and I don't think it's his fault per se.
I think we'll get into it, but I think maybe you'll be able to see some of that influence in here.
The bones of a really brilliant writer telling a really cool story is in this film. Mm-hmm. It's not this film, but it's in there, and it's just it's really cool to see him attached to this. I'm like, wow, that is so weird. My mind was blown. I'm like, that can't be the same Richard Matheson. Nope, it is.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So that is Webb Schlock.
Awesome. Real quick, I want to go back to the character, the actor for Calvin Bouchard. What is it? Louis
Gossett Jr.
Louis.
Yeah.
He was in Enemy Mine.
Yeah.
So wasn't Dennis Quaid also in that?
No, Dennis Quaid was in Interstellar.
Yeah. Enemy Mine was, oh my gosh. Was it Jeff Bridges? No. Now I got to look it up.
Jeff Bridges is Starman.
Yeah. Jeff Bridges Starman. Enemy Mine.
So I take it he was the alien then. Anyway, I love that movie, and that's something that we have to do on here sometime.
You were correct, sir. That was Dennis Quaid.
Oh, boom, boom, boom.
Point for Darby.
Yeah, point for Darby.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome movie. It changed the way I think about the world, man.
Yeah, it shows.
About aliens. So anyway, yeah, let's get into some of this thought-provoking stuff. Move into the schlock. I'll start off just because
you got the point. You got to start. You got the point.
I got the point. I really like this film, actually. I know that it's like kind of derided. It doesn't have a very good score on IMDb. I think a lot of people rate this low. But I think this is a good movie precisely because of what you were saying, Chris. Like, it has the bones of a very solid story. Mm-hmm. And I think that we've seen this story play out in a more successful fashion with movies like Jurassic World, the first one. Like, basically kind of the same movie. Instead of raptors, we got dolphins. Instead of, I guess dolphins, we would need a ton of sharks. Yeah, I've always said that.
Yeah.
I think we've said that on this podcast before.
We might have. I'm no sharkologist, so I don't really remember.
We say somebody. But so it was kind of like the Meg, right, with the underwater facility. mixed with Jurassic World, and I think we've seen that can be a very successful formula.
I would love a movie that did that successfely.
It's called Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, that one.
Yep. You're right.
It's definitely like when you watch this film, especially if you haven't seen it or if it's been a long time. It's funny. The takeaway I got was that this film was actually like way ahead of its time. I mean, not just like with like trying to do like the 3D graphics, but like the underwater facility, the baby shark with the mother shark, and it's just weird seeing like when you watch like The Meg or Deep Blue Sea, it's like, oh my God, did they grab their inspiration from Jaws 3D? Like
just from the novel Jaws. every shark movie should have that caveat.
It was suggested by the novel.
Right. But I really do feel like this film was ahead of its time as far as some of those key aspects in the story and in the film. I mean, obviously 3D was still kind of it's archaic by today's standards, but at the time in 1983, it's groundbreaking. So the mere fact that they tried to pull that off with some interesting scenes, again, a movie that was ahead of its time. I think part of the reason why this movie maybe was not as successful is I don't think the world was ready for it.
Probably.
It may have also been the pacing, but yes.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with also the fact that this Jaws played out completely different than the two prior ones.
Well, and it didn't help that it was PG. That's also super strange.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, this is PG-13.
No, this was PG.
Wasn't the original Jaws PG?
Well, they did it it was a hard PG.
We also have to remember that the standards back then were not nearly as stringent as they are today.
Well, isn't Jaws one of the movies that
probably? I think you're right. That pushed for PG-13.
And
like when the guy got bit in half, they were like, "Oh, this probably shouldn't be PG after all."
Yeah, Temple of Doom, I think, was the first PG-13 movie, right?
Isn't that the one where the guy gets his heart ripped out?
Yeah, that's why it's PG-13.
There's no boobs in it.
Yeah, heart ripping out. Only no one younger than 13 can see that.
There's more boobs in Jaws than
I don't know if it felt, but the kills felt tame compared to the other two Jawses.
They did.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what it was rated. It was because you can do a very visceral, scary movie. You could do one that's G probably with like birds attacking small animals, which would scare people. But it's how you execute that, and it felt very bland in this. And I didn't know if it was were they like, nope, Jaws was PG, because Jaws 2, that was R, right? Or am I just totally making this up?
I don't think it was R.
I don't think so. Yeah,
I'll pull it up.
I'm googling.
Quick, but,
I'm googling hard. Let's see. Jaws 2 is also PG.
Man, this one just feels so much more tame than the other two, and I don't know if it was an execution or if they didn't do reshoots to make it bloodier. I mean, so much of it was off screen, so maybe they didn't have the budget to show the shark attacks or to build up to it, but I really thought it was because of like cuts to the rating. It just did not feel visceral at all.
Well, I think you bring up a great point in the matter of execution, because even if you look at the very first Jaws in the opening scene where the girl gets attacked, like that's a creepy scene. She's swimming at night. The music is tense. She's getting tugged on by something that you don't see. That's a good kill. And
that's a good kill. It's not bloody at all.
Right, exactly. There's no blood shown, but it's tense. You feel the ambiance throughout the course of that scene. You don't get that with these. And I think probably what part of the problem was because this guy, Joe Alves, had worked on the other two films. He knew the problems that they would run into trying to create another giant shark to kill. So they kind of dummied it down with like this smaller shark. And then, well, there's going to be a mother shark, but we don't really have to show it. So he's trying to cheat the system a little bit by not having to make those giant mechanical props.
Right.
Well, they do have some giant sharks in this.
They do.
Giant props.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would agree the kills are pretty tame in that, Yeah, they don't take a lot of time. That everyone goes out very quick in this, except for the British guy, where
Which is the best.
you get to see it from
POV shark mouth.
inside the shark, which was ridiculous.
That was my
but
favorite moment. That was so great.
As far as it being like too tame, though, I mean, I was reading that for television cuts and for cuts in other countries, they had to edit some stuff out, mainly when they show the shark attack victim and like the worm crawls out of his mouth and stuff. Like that's pretty gross.
Creepy. Yeah, no, that was effective. I mean, there.
I'd say that's an R rating at least. Right there.
The other thing that was noticeable in this is that there were fewer kills. Like people survived. The girlfriend who had the big gash on her leg, she survived. She was whisked off to the hospital. Like usually there was a lot more fodder with your main characters. Mm-hmm. Like the teenagers in Jaws 2, a lot of them straight up died.
Yeah,
right? Didn't make. And here, the only character that you really care about that dies is the British guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kellyanne or what she gets attacked and it's scary, but then she's whisked off, and I'm like, oh, that's a weird note.
And so, she's not missing a leg or anything. She's just
she's scarred, but she's gonna be just fine. And the boyfriend goes off with her, and then we never hear from him again. It was a really weird moment, because usually that's where you have like the really darkest moment, the scariest moment of like, oh, this is real. Someone we care about could get killed by this shark. But like, oh yeah, they could get attacked. It was also really interesting that everyone was really proactive and not super scared of the shark.
Yeah. Well, they're like marine biologists.
Right. Yeah. They're like, yeah, no, we can go get it. Yeah, let's go in. Yeah, I'm cool to go in. What are you doing? I'm going to go in with him and get it. It was really weird to see like a movie that's supposed to make everyone in the audience afraid of sharks, and most of the main characters, they don't want to, just throw themselves as shark bait or chum, but they're not really that scared of it.
But it's also like, if you have a shark problem, like who are they going to call? Right? Like
Sharkbusters.
The Sharkbusters. Which, I mean, what, like, they're going to call the police? The police would be like, well, do you know any marine biologists that can come capture this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's us.
See, and that's why in Deep Blue Sea, we have Thomas Jane as the shark wrangler.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what they needed.
But like when in the middle of the movie, when you have Samuel L. getting ate by the shark, he doesn't just have a gash on his leg and come back. He's like, oh, he'll be fine. We're just taking him to the hospital.
Right. And that's a character that you like.
Yeah.
See, for me, it's funny you bring up that the characters kind of like get whisked away and then you never know anything about them, because I looked at this like a lot of the characters for me seemed like they were throwaway characters to begin with. Like you weren't invested in the character. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a whole lot of character building. There wasn't much of a story arc. They were just kind of throwaway characters to begin with.
Well, which is wild.
Which is fine if you're going to have throwaway characters. Kill them.
Well, but here's the thing. One problem I have with throwaway characters are the two guys who are breaking into Still Coral.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like,
I call them the Whispering Bandits.
The Whispering. They're the.
Are you serious?
We're the Wet Bandits. So that's
for our next shark movie, Santa Jaws.
Santa Jaws. What is that, like a 4-minute scene?
Yeah, it was unnecessary.
And the whole reason
it took at least that amount of time to even understand what it was that they were doing.
Correct.
Like, so the whole time you're watching it for the first time, it's like, what the hell even is this?
And it's all this weird, like almost voiceover exposition of telling them things they already know. Like, this coral is going to go for a lot of money. I better get down there and get it. Okay, so the whole reason that scene exists is to have kills early on, but you don't see the kills, so that's not super effective. And we don't know these characters, so you don't care about them at all. So that you could have cut that scene out, took those 4 minutes, we spend it with some character we actually care about, and then when they die in the middle of the film, it actually means something and ups the stakes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What else you got, Darby? This is kind of a free for all in Schlock. We're all just kind of.
Well, no, this is basically what I wanted to talk about, just kind of how the movie was put together, how it has this really interesting story going on. And I think that were you to remove some of the elements or move them around, I think we would have had something much more intriguing. And so I guess some of the things, I'll go into some of the things that I was thinking. The Venezuela story arc, B story, C story.
I hope that's like Jaws 5.
Yeah, maybe, but it didn't really mean anything. Like, it was there for their relationship, but the problem is that, one, she decides to go to Venezuela with him when everything's going to hell in a handbasket. Like, of course, like, yeah. This place is done for. It's time to start looking for a new job, and Venezuela sounds just fine. Right. So I don't know if that really like served the purpose of like their relationship has gone deeper because of it. What I think should have happened in place of that storyline, maybe Venezuela could be in there, but if they're going to go with this storyline of the baby shark and the mama shark, I think Catherine should have been pregnant. Like and so comparing this to Jurassic World, she is the Chris Pratt of this movie. And in Jurassic World, he has that line where he's like, yeah, dinosaurs are just like people. They have desires and they want to eat and they want to, and they could have had something like that with her, of like, fish are like people and they have this intuition and blah, blah, blah. And then later she can find out like, oh, I know why this shark is attacking us. Like, it's a mother, and there's something there for her to learn about wanting the baby or not wanting the baby, or sticking together and making a family, or something like, right. It really suffered from this lack of theme. And I think that would have been a good place to insert something like that, some familial theme of some kind.
Well, so we have the British guy who died. Was the other guy British, or was he like Australian, or
something like
he said
that?
governor a lot, so I think he was British.
Okay, so they were both British.
I think they do that.
Their relationship was the most believable and most poignant in the whole movie. Like, I don't think you should do both. I don't think you should go down there and film that. And then when he doesn't come up, he freaks out and goes down looking for him. And like, you're like, why are you giving this emotional weight to these two British guys? It's really poignant, but you're like, shouldn't that be saved for like the main characters, so we actually care about them?
Yeah, and this goes back to like they had the right elements to make the movie good. They just misplaced them all in the wrong spots.
Yeah, and I don't know when we want to get into the bad, but and the good. But it's clearly divided, and it's right in the middle of the film. Like, once the film gets going, man, that's a great story. It's not executed super well, but like, it's a great story. Once like okay, there are people trapped down below, and there are people here, and we want to try and save the shark, but we want to get rid of the shark, but we want to do this, and then we've got the one group trying to trap the shark, and the other one's trying to build something to go down and save the people who are trapped. Like, man, that's just firing at all cylinders. And like this underwater like restaurant and these tunnels, it's so cool. And I'm like, why did it just make me wait for an hour of nothing but just pure dragging before you get to it? Like, again, it's I don't know if it was in the rewriting of the screenplay or in the editing or where it went, but like, it really cuts down the line of like, this is a really boring, slow-paced movie, to like, oh, this is actually really fun, and I'm interested if they can all pull this off, and there's lots of moving pieces and everything's coming together, and
yeah, I feel you on that one, because, and this is kind of creeping into the bad, but like you said, the pacing is just, the first hour is like, what are we doing? and then immediately you get from like thrown like from 0 to 60, and you're like, oh crap, okay, so we've got, you know, shark attacking people, you know, facilities collapsing, people trapped inside, and it's all these things are going on, and it's like, where was this like 45 minutes ago? Like, I only needed 25 minutes of like maybe story building, and then like you could have ran with some of this other stuff. You could even expanded upon it, you know, like kind of like they did with Deep Blue Sea, like the shark's going after the people inside the facility at this point because it knows somebody had a hand in the death of the baby shark. Like, there was a lot of different ways they could have gone with that, but the pacing was probably, for me, it was its biggest hindrance. You can make up for some bad storytelling if your pacing's decent enough.
Yeah. Well, I have one last thing in Schlock. I actually have a bunch of things in Schlock, but I'll slip them into good and bad. But a question that was on my mind this entire movie was, when does this take place? Is it in the future? And does that make it a sci-fi film?
Yeah, I mean, if Jaws 2 took place when Jaws 2 came out, then this would have to be set in the future.
Yeah,
because they're teenagers.
I was looking this up. 1978, the younger brother was 9 years old. The older brother was 16 years old. So the younger brother has to be at least 21, we'll assume, which means that's 11 years or 12 years into the future, which would put this into 1990. And I've never been to SeaWorld. I don't know if they have an underwater fortress.
No, they still don't. They definitely didn't have it in 83. They definitely didn't have it in 1990 if they wanted to be in the future. And I can tell you, because I've been there, I live here. No, they don't.
Right. But so looking at it now, you'd be like, that doesn't exist. But if you were in 1983 and this movie was logically taking place in the future, you'd be like, oh yeah, they might build that. You could
theoretically be like, yeah, they should probably do something like that. But that's another thing. Like, it's never established as far as the timeline. Like, when is this happening?
Right.
And I think Megan brought up a good point in the chat where it's like the whole SeaWorld thing, like it could have been used as a whole theme versus a backdrop. And she also brought up the point, like, she's kind of surprised like SeaWorld even let it happen. But I'm also thinking, like, in 1983, SeaWorld Orlando was still kind of new. Like, it'd only been there for a couple of years, I think. So I think the idea was like, well, we can bring people in with this movie associated with it. And I think that's probably part of the reason why it was more of a humanitarian effort, you know, save the sharks versus kill the sharks. It's not until everything goes completely awry that they're like, well, we need to kill the shark, you know?
Yeah.
Leading up to that, it was always this humanitarian effort, like save the baby shark. We can't keep it in captivity. You know,
but release it, get it out of our enclosed area. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Which it turns out SeaWorld not so great.
That. SeaWorld tried it right after this, and this movie happened in real life, and they just hushed it all up.
So, as far as the humanitarian effort goes, I did want to bring up the whole grenade thing, and the who wants to catch it and who wants to kill it. So one, well, let me renege on the grenade thing for now. But we were talking earlier about the Brody brothers and how it's like kind of a blink and you miss it. They don't really go into that. Like, there should have been, like, they say it, I think 2 different times, but they should have been like, there should have been a scene where it was like, oh, your dad was the one who killed the Amity Island Jaws or the Amity Island shark or whatever twice. Like to really establish it. But you would think that once a great white shark is in there, Mike, Dennis Quaid, he's like, oh man, I've seen these things before or whatever. But I would have thought that had this traumatic thing, especially the events of Jaws 2, had those happened to him, he wouldn't sit around and let his girlfriend be like, no, we should keep it. He'd be like, no, we're going to blow this thing apart. Like, there's no way we're going to even try this. And I think that he should have been the one to advocate for killing it. And the cameraman should have been the one advocating for, like they're kind of ganging up against him, against Brody.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing with the Brody brothers that should have happened is it really should have become a two-hander with the younger brother. He's the one who was still afraid of the water. He was the one who had the most to overcome.
Mhm.
Now, if his girlfriend A had died from the shark attack, or B, they're like, we're rushing her to the hospital, but we don't know if she's going to live. And that's when the little brother comes in and says, we need to deal with this shark now. I remember what happened last time. I remember what happened the time before. Maybe I'm scared of the water like my dad was. I'm going to overcome it. No one else is going to get hurt by this shark.
Mm-hmm.
But he just goes away for the rest of the film. Like, it's set up in the beginning of the film perfectly. Like, oh, this girl's starting to coax him back into the water, but Jaws and Jaws 2 happened and it traumatized him. And we know that this is Jaws 3. So that thematic dilemma is going to surface at the end, and it doesn't, because as soon as he takes a ride in the hospital, in the ambulance to the hospital, they're never seen from again.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's what makes this film so frustrating for me, is that there are so many great avenues that they could have gone with the story building, and it just seems like every single one was just completely overlooked for some reason. I would love to know what their thought was, what the end game was going to be for this, because to completely just kind of glaze over the whole Brody thing, like, they're supposed to be his sons. There were so many opportunities to establish that way better, execute how those characters should have been handled, just like Chris just said, would have been amazing and would have really put Jaws 3 in a much different category than what we're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I think they should have done one of two things with the brothers, the Brody brothers as a whole. One, they should have just either cut out the little brother completely and put a throwaway line of like, oh no, my brother doesn't come here, he's scared of the water. Because if I remember right from the end of Jaws 2, I mean, yeah, that's a pretty traumatic experience where it makes sense that he would be in Colorado. Like, all of that made sense.
He's in the middle of the country where there's no water.
Yeah, they should have just cut it out and focused on the older brother. Or, again, going back to Jurassic World, the brother and the ski girl, Leah Thompson, Marty McFly's mom, those should have been basically the little kids in Jurassic World, right? They get trapped out in the park while everything's going awry, and they have to be rescued. So in this instance, they probably should have either gotten trapped out in the middle of the lagoon or whatever, in the bumper boats, or they should have been inside.
That was one.
The shark is going to get into it.
100%. That was one of the problems with. I really loved the people getting trapped down there and then having to use his engineering to like figure out a way to get them out. But none of those people were any of our main characters, so it was harder to care about them. If you would have thrown the brother and the girlfriend down there, yeah, yep,
yeah. And one last thing, I said I'd get to the grenades. I hated the whole grenade thing. Actually, let's just move into bad. Are we good?
Sure.
Let's move.
I know we're bad.
Let's move into bad.
We're good to move into bad.
We're good to move into bad. I hated the whole grenade thing just because, one, I think it's a dumb idea. I'm pretty sure that if a grenade goes off in water and you're next to it, well, one, grenade, I don't think you can throw it very far in water to get it away from you. And I think if a grenade goes off in the water next to you, you're dead. Even if, like, I think if you're on the other end of a pool or something, right? Doesn't it, like, no, I'm not a grenadeologist, but I think that the water,
the percussion would at least,
I mean, it compacts the water and would kill you. So that's a really stupid idea, right? Yeah,
they had to go with it because that's the only thing that they were focused on towards the end, is they have to blow up the shark just like they blew up the other previous movies. So we have to find a way to blow up the shark.
Maniac Clown is answering for us. He's like, yeah, lots of pressure. Yeah, there we go.
Lots of pressure, not to mention the shrapnel.
Right, but the shark closed his mouth slightly after the pin had been pulled, so it's fine.
That
all
was
the
good.
Percussion and shrapnel was in the shark's mouth.
Now, here's the thing. I do think that the grenade could have been used well, because another part that I didn't like was that the shark so easily destroyed the underground structure. Like, shouldn't this thing be rated for, I don't know, large debris coming into, like, hurricanes,
Grenades.
tsunamis? I don't know. Like a car should be able to be thrown into that, and it should
Right.
be like okay. And so I think that the whole grenade thing, because they said at the beginning the reason you can't use them is because, you know, this whole place is made out of acrylic. It makes it sound like he built it really poorly. But had a grenade gone off earlier, that would have made sense for the shark breaking through, because it ruined the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
That would have made
So,
sense.
I
feel like we're asking a lot from this movie, though.
Yeah,
that's true.
The grenade was not good. I agree with you, but the fact that they have to like turn it into some kind of like skill game at a carnival where he's trying to hook the grenade and the mouth keeps opening and shutting. Oh, dude, that is like, I was laughing so hard. That was one of my favorite parts in the whole movie. I'm like, this is so bad, it's good. I loved it. But yes, they should have found a different way to kill the shark.
Let me throw out some more bads here, and then, I'll hand it over to you guys. I had more than one.
You don't say.
Believe that. So let's see. We kind of talked about the character backstories a little bit. Bouchard, the owner, I actually really liked the character, but I didn't believe him being, like, I assume, like a multi-millionaire owner of SeaWorld. Just in that, like, the way he acted to me seemed like either like he was very old money or very new money. But I didn't get
middle-aged
either
money.
one of those. And so, yeah, he's like middle-aged money. And had they cut out the brother's story, I would have liked to have seen his story developed a little bit more. Like, why is he going to go against the advice and put the baby shark out, right? Like, is he sideways on the park? Is he running out of money? Did he just come into it? Because the thing is, he's supposed to be kind of the mayor of this movie.
Exactly.
But he's not a complete asshat, though. He is.
No, he's not
a large chunk of the movie, but he is.
He's not the mayor. He's not the mayor of Jaws 1. It's super interesting that that's the kind of role he's in, but he's never doing anything super malicious, and he does actually care. Sometimes he makes the wrong choice, like putting the shark, the baby shark out. Sometimes he makes the greedy choice, but it never comes from like, we're gonna keep this park open. I don't care if people are safe or not. Which is really, it was interesting to have a character who had very multifaceted instead of just the one note bad bureaucrat.
Right. Exactly. So other bads, I'll say the pacing. I think there was bad dialogue in it, like I'm mad at him, but I didn't mean that old boy no harm. I don't mean him no harm. You hear? Like,
well, are you a shark? Do you magically control sharks? Are you a shark witch? Because if not, are you?
Oh, that sounds like a great movie.
Shark witch. Okay, you heard it here first.
Just some of the acting. The main actress, she moved like a 80-year-old woman in some places. Like when she sees the shark attack body, she's like puts her hands up like, oh. I don't know. She like there was just some odd stuff. And I did really like Dennis Quaid in this, but there was some very campy things, like when they're on the beach and they're like tiptoeing from tree to tree like cartoons. Like, it's fun and playful. I'm
hiding.
Weird.
You can't see me.
Yeah.
But did you read his quotes from what he had to say about the film? That he was like pretty much high the whole time.
Yeah, what's funny is that before all of this, I watched like a making of Jaws 3, and they put a lot of effort into this movie, consulting marine biologists, spending weeks and weeks and weeks training with these dolphins and the killer whale, and just they put a ton of effort into this movie. And then Dennis Quaid is like, I was high on cocaine the entire time. I don't remember this movie.
I was in a Jaws movie.
Yeah, cocaine's a hell of a drug. And upon watching it again, it's like, yeah, I could see that. So the pacing, and that's all I have for bad. What do you fellers have?
You want to go, or you want me to go?
I mean, it doesn't matter. I think, I mean, a lot of Darby's gripes are the same as mine. We kind of talked about pacing. The story does seem like it's kind of all over the place. And I think, I said earlier, like, this movie was ahead of its time. And I think another reason that it feels that way is because when you look at the knowledge that we have now on sharks, particularly great white sharks, they were still trying to figure out a lot of this stuff at the time.
Sharkology was a new profession.
Right, exactly. So, you know, they can do all the consulting they want. They still didn't have good knowledge of white sharks to begin with. So some of that stuff, like, just didn't click.
No, you're right. But I have to pause. Maniac Clown, do you think that shark witches are like cops? Like, if you're a shark witch, you have to tell me.
Right?
That's not how that works. Shark witches in real life, they don't have to tell you if they are or not.
But I mean, I think the most disappointing thing about this film is, like, when you look like the amount of money that they had for the film, the amount of consulting that they did, the amount of effort that they did, and it's like, I feel bad at the end of the day for them for coming up with something like this.
They tried so hard, and they put so much money and effort and skill into it to have it not work in the end. That's why any kind of schlocky movie, even if it's a big budget movie, you always feel bad for them, because, like, it's hard work.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that, you know, trying to put something together. And I always go back to, like, especially with, like, independent films, like, you can get away with some things, like, if that was your intention. Like, if you were intending to make a parody or something that's kind of campy, that's one thing. Yeah. But, like, what sucks about this one is, like, it wasn't their intention at all for it to be what it is. You know, it just is not a great film, period.
No. Well, and for the record, if I participated in the making of this film, I wouldn't feel bad at all. Like, I mean,
just having the conversation you had, you did participate in the making of this film, making it better.
If only I had a time machine.
Okay, so do you have any more bads, Lance? Or, I mean, that's a good one you're totally right on with that.
Yeah. No, go ahead, man. I'm curious to hear what you got.
I don't have a lot new from what both of you said. The pacing, the first half is just so slow and boring, and then it really picks up, and the second half is pretty fun for a schlocky movie. Some of the acting, not the best. The 3D is so weird looking now that I almost kind of like the aesthetic of it. I'm like, man, I wish there was more of it, because
dude, that yellow submarine, I was like, that's pretty cool looking. I'm not gonna lie.
Right? like if you double down on that in this campy sort of way, like when the shark's coming at them and they're like, it's gonna break through, and then it breaks into the
that was kind of a cool scene.
The observation.
I hated that scene where it breaks through the glass. I was like, because it's like a minute of being like, well, what's happening? Like, is the shark coming closer very slowly?
Yeah, because it's 3D
and it's slow motion. Like, you just don't know it yet.
It needed to show it revving up,
right? Yeah. Well,
I don't know if sharks can.
To be fair, they hadn't really done a lot of 3D. So the music in and of itself was not bad, but it suffers compared to John Williams. Like, even though you have the theme again, there was nothing bad about the score, but it was just one more thing that did not live up to the predecessors.
Yeah. I was hoping you would bring that up.
Yeah.
It was definitely interesting to see how they were trying to do their own original score and then kind of mix in the original
shark. The original. Yeah,
and it almost worked sometimes, and then they would just miss it by a few notes, and you're like, ah.
Yeah, and again, none of it was inherently bad. It just didn't have that magical quality that the first one did. And then again, for a horror movie, for a thriller movie, for a Jaws movie, a shark movie, the kills were not very good. A lot of them were off screen, which again, that's fine if you do it in a cool kind of shadow way or implied, kind of like you brought up earlier in the first Jaws.
Yeah,
but most of the kills were really quick, really confusing, really boring, and you didn't know who, and it was no one that you really cared about. Like
I said, throwaway characters.
And then the one kill you do have where they're on the paddle boat, it's not a kill. She doesn't die. She's rescued. And again, I'm okay with that because it's kind of weird to have that. But there was just so many different things. The character motivations, it was just so all over the place. So there's so many bads, but I don't want to rag on this movie because I don't think it's a horrible movie. I think there's lots to take away from it and lots to enjoy, but there's a lot of bad.
Yeah, the last thing I would add to that bad is the 3D, and not the 3D itself. I mean, we know 1983, it's cutting edge by today's standards. It's archaic, but I would say that the time in between some of those 3D shots, like, you almost forget you're watching a 3D film.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They did a few cool ones in the beginning with the underwater scenes. And then like, there was a lot of just story that didn't really go anywhere because of the pacing. You almost forget you're watching a 3D film until you get, oh, that's right. The guy's arms floating and it looks cool, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, you're right that the pacing of the 3D elements was not executed very well. Although I'm confused because I watched Jaws 3. Did you guys watch Jaws 3 or Jaws 3D? Like on the title sequence, they changed it to.
I watched Jaws 3D.
See, mine said Jaws 3 in the credit sequence in the beginning.
Is it the the title is like a set of jaws that clamps down?
I can't remember. I watched it 2 days ago, but I can't remember.
That's the one that I saw.
But it said Jaws, and then it had 3 Roman numerals.
No, mine was.
And what I had heard is that they had changed the title for if they were going to be showing it in 3D or not.
Yeah.
And then I wondered if like there were certain shots that were integral to the story that they could not remove, but maybe there were other gratuitous 3D shots that were taken out of the version I saw.
That's possible.
Yeah. But the way you're complaining about having huge blocks of time without a 3D element makes me think we watched the same movie.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't know. That would be something to look at to see if there's a version that has more 3D shots than not. There's the opening 3D shot, there's the arm, there's the submarine, there's the shark breaking through the glass, there's the harpoon.
Yeah.
I can't think of any others.
They're like the guts when it explodes.
Yeah.
They're guts at the very beginning. So you may not have seen this, but like the shark eats a fish or something and the blood comes out.
The blood in the water.
The camera.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I did. That was there. So so I think we watched the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I lied. I have 2 more bads. They're not really bads. They're just, one thing is a pet peeve and one thing is something I thought was really silly. The silly thing is the standoff game. What is this game? You stand there.
They should have. I think they're. I think they're on some kind of like small pedestal, like maybe a small little board that they step onto, and then they try and push them off of it. But they should have like showed their feet to establish. I guess in '83, everyone was playing the standoff game in bars, and they didn't need any explanation.
They must have not had beer pong back then.
Yeah,
Chris brings up a good point there. That might have been something that was a thing that just nobody knows about today.
It was like was Slithith. Where was the turtle racing? Was the turtle racing in Slithith?
I think so.
Yeah, like again, it's just.
I think that was a thing.
Yeah, like you're like, okay, standoff or push off or whatever it is a thing.
And so the other thing, my pet peeve is in movies when there are animals in the movies and they don't just call the animals by their real names. So the dolphins in this, they were called like Sandy and Butterscotch. I don't know. I don't remember their names, but like one of the real names is Capricorn. Why didn't they just use the real
Yeah,
name?
it's like
Why
when
would they
you
do
watch
that?
a movie with like a
That's cool.
dog and it's the dog's got a name in the movie, but like the dog's name in real life is like Fred, and you're like, well, why not just call him fucking Fred? You know?
Yeah, and unless it's like very integral to the movie or it's like a really funny name, or why not? Right?
The other thing though, that the opposite problem is like when you have a TV show where there's an actor and the actor's first name is the name of their character, and I'm like, did they just name them that because they couldn't remember their names on cue?
Well, something I've always thought for low budget films, like indie films, when you're using people
Non-actors
that are non-actors, I think maybe just use their real name, unless you have like three mics, then
Right.
maybe don't do that. But,
Right.
but just use their real name. It might be easier for them. So yeah, that's all I have for bad. Let's move into the good. I kind of took over bad, so let's give it to our guests. Lance, tell us what's good about this movie.
I will say what is good is, again, the movie's ahead of its time. I feel like this film crawled so Deep Blue Sea could walk. But I will say some of the underwater establishment shots, especially during like the opening title sequence with like the skiers and everything, the cinematography is actually not too bad in this film, especially with a lot of the underwater stuff. And I do like the fact that they had this done at like they had that underground facility. I think that was a big jump in like Darby said earlier, like science fiction. You know, you're really expanding the universe, even though it's like it's a kind of a oxymoron because you're kind of enclosed in like this like lagoon, but you have this massive underground facility to play with as well. So, and I mean, I like the idea of there being multiple sharks. I didn't necessarily like the idea that it was a, you know, mother and a baby shark, but I thought the idea of having multiple sharks in this film kind of upped the ante a little bit. I don't think, again, that was executed too well, but, you know, overall, we know it's got problems. But I think collectively, there's a lot of good elements in the film. They just weren't executed very well.
Yeah. Agree.
Yep.
I totally agree with that. I've said it over and over again. I love this film for what it could have been. And I watched it a second time just to get ready for this, and I still really enjoyed it. All the things that like I kind of didn't understand the first time, since I already knew them, that enhanced my enjoyment of it. So I would give it a thumbs up. I enjoyed it. I don't think it is as like bad.
Would it be like a severed thumb that's like floating in the water, like toward you?
And I did like a lot of the characters in it. I liked what they were trying to do with them. I like maybe some of the archetypes that they were putting in, or just what function they were supposed to be serving. I like that. And something that I think is very cool and maybe goes a little under the radar in this movie is that they actually do a pretty good job at setting things up for later in the film. Like the grenade, even though I thought it was stupid, right? They bring it in earlier. But something that I thought was really interesting was when we first kind of get into SeaWorld proper, they have all of the SeaWorld employees standing there in their striped shirts, and they're like kind of getting this riot act from this matron about how, you know, if your shorts are too short, you're going to be waiting tables again. And I'm like, man, it's like really strict there.
That felt like an 80s sex comedy, like for going to camp somewhere.
God, they're the best though. I love 80s sex comedies.
That's what that scene felt like. Like none of you girls better wear short shorts. And then you're like, oh, you know, they're wearing short shorts.
But it's like, what job do you go to where they have that kind of orientation where it's, I don't know. It just seemed very strict. But within that scene, though, so they go from that, they go to like this model of the underwater facility, and kind of laying that out, giving you an idea of like where this is going to take place, because the geography is a little bit hard, at least for me, a little bit hard to follow in the movie. But later, when the underground facility is attacked and the water is going in, and I keep wanting to call them stewardesses, but that's not what they are. But the employees, yeah, they're like, okay, everybody, remain calm, move this way. Like these aren't like zit-faced teenagers on their summer job. They're like, oh my God, we got to get out of here. Every man for himself. These are like professional people that went through this extensive training process.
And the one who's underground exhibits that very well.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, they
which it kind of makes you wonder, like, based on the fact that it takes place at SeaWorld, like, was that supposed to be like their caveat? Like, well, we'll let you film here if we can showcase how our employees will treat guests in a duress situation, right? Because I know Megan brought it up earlier, and like by today's standards, like if you presented this to like a Disney or a SeaWorld, they'd be like, no, we're not doing this. Absolutely not. Right. But like in 1983, they were like, oh, this will be amazing. This will drive people to our ticket sales, and we'll get people in the door. But it's like, man, things changed a lot in 45 years.
Right.
It's not like that anymore.
Oh my God! There's no way you would. There's no way you'd be able to take a script like this to SeaWorld and be like, "Hey, can we film this here?" I'd be like, "No, you're not going to."
Can we show the incompetency of your park?
Right. Exactly. That's exactly how it would go. So it's just wild how times have changed in a generation.
Tis true.
Chris, what do you have for good?
There's a lot of good. The story idea I think is great. I think the bones of it is just, there's a great movie in there, and it's not just Deep Blue Sea, and it's not just Jurassic Park. It's this like amalgamation. It feels like these movies that came later took a chunk of it and went in their separate ways, but I think the whole is still greater than the parts, and I still think there's a movie in there that hasn't been made yet that could just be amazing. The second half, again, where it showcases more of these story ideas, I really thought was strong. I liked the Brody brothers all grown up. I liked that we had them as kids, then as teenagers, then as adults. I really hope the Revenge is where they're like in an old folks home. I'm sure it's not. But I like the trajectory of like each film seeing a different phase in their life. The dolphins, I feel they were underutilized, but I loved them. I wish they, like, I think dolphins will attack sharks in real life.
I think so.
They'll hit them and like at least get them to go away. And again, I'm sure that would have been really hard to do in this film, training wise, budget wise, prop wise. But I felt that they should have. I did like how they like swam them to safety much faster than they could have swam themselves.
Yeah.
So they did that really well. But I liked the dolphins. That again, they felt like the raptors of the sea, except for they weren't evil. And I wanted to see just a little bit more of that tied in, but man, I loved them. The killer whale, I also could have used more of. I would have liked a whole just bunch of different sea creatures. And
sea cucumbers, tuna,
right? An octopus, some seals. Okay. My last good is the setting, and it's all the different pieces. You guys both brought it up. The underground facility is amazing. I loved the restaurant because it was so posh and upscale in the middle of this like park for everyday Americans. And there was this giant glass wall. And I think that that's what the shark should have broken into. That was a missed opportunity, but like that was really cool. They used it a little bit, but the sunken pirate ship that they made, it would have been cooler later on if they could have hidden there or used that somehow to lure a shark in to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But it was another like, oh, that feels like that would be at a real theme park. and that feels like a cool location to use something. But then the other thing is like the bar. As simple as that is, it was one of those, like, I know it came before Top Gun, but it felt like the bar in Top Gun.
Yeah.
And it felt like, no, this bar, which was it on property? Was that on the SeaWorld property? Because it felt like it was.
It sure seemed like it.
Yeah, it sure seemed like everything happened on
property, like everyone lived there, slept there, worked there. It felt like summer camp, but like this bar felt like, oh, this is the only place where if you work at SeaWorld in any capacity, you're going to go there and you're going to drink and you're going to you're going to party, you're going to play whatever that game was,
standoff.
But it felt the setting felt lived in such a cool way. 80s did a really good job of this. It's probably, I mean, there are movies in every decade and every generation that do this really well, where they have these lived in places, but it just felt like, I believe that they're there to blow off steam and to have a couple beers and to talk about the day. And it's all the SeaWorld people. And it felt very, not only summer camp, but also like Alien. Like, I'm like, how do I know that they're not just trapped somewhere? Like, except for the people, except for the tourists coming into the park, it did not feel like anything existed outside of SeaWorld.
Yep.
And that's kind of a cool feeling in a horror film.
Yeah. And we've talked about that in other episodes about getting people sort of locked off from the outside world.
Right. Yep. But this one did it through style, because there was no like, this bar is not on property, or there's no reason we have to go somewhere. It just felt like it was almost like it took place on like a boot camp somewhere too, or something. Like, there's just, everything was there.
Yep.
Yeah. And I really liked all the different pieces. The control room felt very kind of sci-fi futuristic, but also very control roomy. Like, everything was very believable in a setting wise, and it felt very lived in. So I really, really enjoyed that.
I really like Megan's note here where it says it's a fascinating failure, because there's so many good elements to this film, and it's funny, like watching it, you can almost see all of those things that you just kind of pointed out. You can see the Jurassic Park, you can see the Deep Blue Sea, you can see the Meg, you can see the Top Gun in it, you can see all of these things. And I feel like there's so many filmmakers that probably watched this film and have seen it and was like, I could probably use that, and I can probably use that. They're not willing to admit that they've watched Jaws 3, but they definitely did.
And they might not even know they're taking from it. Right? It's like, okay, where's that? Oh yeah, that's in the back of my head now, and I'm going to use that.
Well, something really interesting in this movie is that so one of my all-time favorite scenes is in Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens, where they go into the hive under the reactors, and the soldiers are moving through, and then you have the people in the chair, right? And they're communicating back and forth. The people in the chair, they can kind of see what's going on a little bit, and they're communicating back and forth. And I love it when movies do this. This movie, I think the Aliens perfected it, and people have tried to emulate it ever since. This movie came out before Aliens, and I think that they have a lot of that in there when they're going through the sunken ship. When they are going through the water, welding things, they have the people in the chair in the control room communicating back and forth, and it's not quite there, but the prerequisites for it are there.
You know, another good thing that's interesting in this film is that, like, Dennis Quaid is not your typical hero in this. He's kind of more of like an everyman, which a lot of action movies move toward that everyman later on, especially after Die Hard, to add like a little bit of humanity, a little bit of relatability, a little bit of comedy. Like when he's trying to get everyone to get out of the water, that's a pretty great moment. And it's not like this hero who's perfectly getting people out of the water. He's scrambling and falling and tripping. And all the characters in this
crashing
film,
his cart.
Right. Yeah, crashing the cart, which was great. It just flops over. All the characters in this film do stuff that's slightly out of the typical way that the character they're playing would handle that in another movie. even by not dying when you get ate by a shark halfway through the film. Like, that's just strange. Or like Louis Gossett Jr. not being the total bad guy of like, keep the park open no matter what. I don't care if people. He was nothing like the mayor in the first movie. There were lots of moments when you thought he really did care about his employees.
Which is funny you bring that up, because we were talking about the sex comedies earlier, and that was kind of like a thing with the sex comedies in the 80s, whether it was like joysticks. There was always like the arcade owner was like, I'm gonna shut you guys down, or there was always the guy at summer job was, anything we can do to keep this place open and keep the money coming in. Like, so that was kind of a trope in the 80s, was these kind of like narcissistic, all about the money bad guys. And you had Louis Gossett Jr. I think he could have, I don't think it was his fault. I think he did well with what he was handed, but that character could have definitely had a little bit better dynamic. But I love the fact that he wasn't the complete asshole, but I don't think that they allowed Louis Gossett to portray the character in a way that he would have wanted to. Honestly.
Probably not. Yeah.
Because Louis Gossett Jr. was always a very intense actor.
Yes. Yeah. I love him. He's a great actor. So many good movies. Big Stan's so good. Oh man. Yeah. Iron Eagle. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think that is all the time that we have for today. I think we've landed on a lot of movies owe a debt of gratitude to Jaws 3D.
Absolutely.
Everyone agree on that? Awesome. Yep. Well, everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. Everybody who's been listening out in the podcast world, thank you for listening. If you're not following us, make sure you follow us. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, comment, like, do all of that stuff. We are currently on YouTube working towards 4,000 watch hours, so we can get that YouTube money. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter. In 3 weeks, I believe, we will be closing out Shark Month with our next movie on July 28th, Tuesday, July 28th, with The Reef. None of us have seen it yet. None of us has seen it, so it's going to be brand new. So please watch it and join with us live next time. I'm Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. With me is Chris Anonymous and Lance the Obscure Movie Guy. We appreciate you all coming out. We've all been compelled by Schlock. We will see you guys next time. Lock on, everybody.